Hari Om. Hari Om. You may hear some crackers during the Satsang. Today is Deepavali. Happy Deepavali to everybody. Actually, in the north, a number of states, they have completely banned this year's to burn crackers because of the pollution. And then in the south, each state has their own rules. Tamil Nadu government has ruled that it's allowed only in the morning between 6 and 7 and in the evening between 7 and 8, but still you hear cracking all around the whole day long. Fortunately, we are out here in town, it would be unbearable. When the government law was given out for lockdown, then everything was really strictly enforced by the police. That's very, very unusual here. Even if they give out laws, usually people don't care too much, like now. You hear it cracking the whole day long in spite of the rule that's only allowed in the morning and in the evening for 1 hour. Okay, there we are. Is there anybody who would like to come in? Please come in. We have quite a wind coming up. Hope it doesn't disturb too much. All right, Mariano, I'm coming straight away to your questions. Nobody is asking anything. Mariana from Argentina has written me again. And his issue was that he has been for a long time in a boring job, looks for something more interesting that could more inspire him, but somehow it seems not to work. And he asked me, what has meditation to do with this? How can we maybe through meditation make things happen? Or how can we connect it? That's the first part of the question. The second part, how to integrate meditation and the daily life. Well, Mariano, it seems you yourself are not quite sure what you would like to do. Simply, you would like to do something that you would be more interested and more inspired by than whatever you are doing now. And I cannot give you a magic trick, but you still can just open that something is coming along. At the same time, you have your eyes open, you look in the newspapers, you look what's going on, but you can open your heart and sort of then just give that intent in the current that something comes along that somehow feels more right than whatever you are doing. And then you may have to have some patience, but it does influence the events if you intend like this. And then it may come along. And the other part of the question, how to integrate your meditation onto your daily life. Well, it's very good if you have every day some time where you are doing nothing else, where you can meditate, where you can focus your entire attention in being consciously here now, consciously alive in one form or another. But then don't completely separate this from the rest of your day. And you said you have a boring job, okay, but sometimes in a boring job you can use the fact that the job may be repetitive, that you don't have to think too much about it, that it's just routine, that you can consciously bring your attention to the present, that during whatever work you are doing that you feel is boring, that you learn to meditate while being active, that you learn to bring your attention to the present and learn to relax. And then even if the external activity is not very inspiring, actually you can have a good time no matter what you are doing. Even if the work is not very inspiring. So work on that, on bringing your attention to the timelessness of the now, and all the beauty and all the joy of existence is there. And then it doesn't matter whether your external work is very inspiring or it's somewhat repetitive, rather boring. Still, that doesn't mean you should now continue the same thing forever and ever. You still can have your eyes open. You still can give that intent in the current, that something comes along that you feel it's more right than what you're doing. But as long as it is, as long as you are in a job that you are not too much inspired by, then never mind, because here, now, you are complete. You don't need to be fulfilled by what is outside. You don't need to be fulfilled by what you're doing. That completion is already there. Simply learn to meditate in that way, even when you're working. And then the two don't seem like two so much different things. Two aspects, two different aspects. The time where you're not moving, where you're not active, where you can put your undivided attention on your meditation. And then the other aspect of the same current of life, of the same experience, that you are active, you are in society, you are with people, but you remind yourself to connect as much as you can. Whenever it comes to your memory, as long as you don't remember, you can't. But as soon as it comes to your memory, connect here, now, and relax in that. And then, even in a boring job, you may be quite happy. And then it's not more so important to change the job. Still, if there is a good opportunity to do something else that you would like to do better, you still can grab it. You still can have your eyes open. But it's not a new job that is going to bring you that sense of fulfillment, but the measure how you are learning to connect with the timelessness of the now and learn to relax into that. That is the measure that by which you can measure your sense of fulfillment, your sense of happiness. Give attention mainly to that, and then externally, playfully go about your life, look around, and if something comes along where you feel, oh, now that's really something where I'm fitting in better, that I would like better to do, then grab it and do that and change. how to integrate your meditation, your practice with your daily life by continuing practicing in your daily life, by continuing practicing when you are in the midst of people, when you are active, when you're talking, when you're listening. Remind yourself to be here now, timeless and relaxing. Then the two come together more and more. Okay. That was the answer I've given to the written question of Mariano. Is there anybody who would like to come in? Please come in.
Компьютерные игры имитации как-нибудь могут?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Dial.
Nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you online.
I want to introduce you. He's my brother. Yeah, this is Dmitry, my brother.
Hello, Vitri.
Yeah.
Do you speak English?
A little bit. Yeah, and we have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more my question, not his question. Yeah, but he's spending a lot of time with computer game. Yeah, he enjoyed. He happy with it, but it's take really a lot of time. What is your advice about wasting time with computer game?
Well, you seem to like it, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. But you would like to. But you would like to reduce, or is it your brother that asks you to reduce?
Хочешь уменьшить или это тебя заставляет?
Да, нет, не особо хочу.
Not really, not really want to reduce.
Not really. You give him a hard time with it, huh?
Sorry?
You Dial, you're giving him a hard time that he should reduce.
No, we was not living together for many years.
Yeah.
But now he comes to my house and we stay together. And I find out it's really a lot of time. Yeah, but he enjoyed. Yeah, why not? So just mention because many other friends also are addicted to the computer games. Yeah, in general, maybe you said how it's may harm, how it is real life and computer life connection.
Well, can I ask, is it a problem for you also? Are you going?
No, not my problem.
Not your problem. Right. Of course, it's something that totally absorbs the attention. People, when they are involved in their games, they don't see left, don't see right. Actually, it's an escape to confront oneself, to be with oneself. You would have to have a very high alertness already that you could play a computer game and still keep that attention in being consciously alive, consciously present.
Очень трудно быть осознанным, играя в компьютерные игры.
Не, наоборот, там надо быть осознанным, надо быть очень внимательным.
What did he say?
He said, to play good, you have to be very aware. You need a lot of attention.
Right. Or you play these games where you play with other people at the same time?
Yes. Yes.
Like assaults and this kind of stuff. Huh? It's all violent stuff.
World of Tanks.
Yeah. Right. I mean, what can I say to people who like to do it? It's true. It's also a practice to practice concentration, but you channel all your energy there in that game. it's not really making you grow.
Вот вся энергия уходит у тебя в эту игру. Это не дает тебе расти.
Are you a practitioner? Do you meditate? I mean,
А ты медитируешь, Паша?
Sometimes, наверное, так сказать. Sometimes.
He did one course Vipassana 20 years ago, but not come anymore to Vipassana.
Yeah.
But he like martial arts, and every morning he practicing something like... Расскажи, что ты делаешь? Some martial arts.
Some Chinese martial arts.
Chinese martial arts.
Yeah.
Practicing.
One type of kung fu.
Kung fu, yeah, kung fu.
Yes, of course.
I mean, it's a family kung fu. It's including many different directions. That's great. Anyhow, I don't want to persuade people to change their life if they don't want to change their life.
Менять жизнь, если они не хотят менять свою жизнь.
If you, Dial, would ask me the question because you would want to find a way to reduce it, to get rid of it, that would be different. But it seems that you dragged your brother here because you want me to give him a sermon.
Yeah. It's just an excuse to introduce him to you. So why not? But actually, I feel myself dependent to YouTube. Sometimes also looking a lot of time for the news, sometimes audiobooks. So, and I get addicted. So I like to listen something in my ears, something information going on. So I also feel a bit addicted to it.
Right, we have talked about it before, and don't you worry about it. Just try not to extend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try to make limits.
Yes, you think for yourself, how much am I okay to go for it, and then you check a bit your time that you spend on it, and then try to be strict with your ideas that, okay, now my time is full, so finish for today.
Yeah, we'll try.
I mean, it's a part of the modern life. If somebody wants to completely renounce this, fine, then it's fine. Then we can also not have our online satsang. But if you want to integrate it, it's part of the modern life. So it's not something that you simply have to say it's bad and I shouldn't do it. But don't try not to get completely absorbed. And I know very many youngsters, they really get totally absorbed in those games where they are fighting with others, where they are competing with others. I know from people that they don't want to come out of their room, and the parents, they don't know what to do because they never want to come out of the room. They don't want to go to school. They just want to go on and play that game.
Дети все время играют там бесконечно, не хотят в школу.
Learn to become aware how beautiful this manifestation is if we just learn to look at it again.
Учитесь смотреть, как красива эта жизнь в реальности.
I would recommend people who do a lot of games in between, go out, go in nature, and go with an open heart. And breathe the good air in the forest amongst the trees. Connect with your mind, with your heart, connect with the nature, connect with the trees, and see how much more actually it is alive than being absorbed into a computer.
Так, это больше живо, чем компьютерная картинка.
But I'm not telling anyone who likes to do games, you should stop games if you like to do games. But like I said to you, Dial, maybe one could make a timetable and say for oneself, okay, I allow myself that much time. And then if the time is up, and I have already gone through that much time, then try to be strict and do as you decide. And then you can keep a part of your day for that, but learn to become again more aware. Okay, it's exciting. It's so much action, and it absorbs the attention, and then that's why it's so attractive, because it absorbs all the attention. Then you don't suffer. You don't have time to think about yesterday, tomorrow, and all my personal problem. You are just absorbed in that. But unfortunately, it doesn't solve the problems one has. You come out of the game and they are waiting, and you are there again, and you have to confront yourself. Learn to be with yourself and become aware that actually what makes you happy comes out of yourself. And the excitement and the happiness one experiences when being absorbed in such a game is because for some time we are shutting down the mind for other things, so there is less disturbance. And you are more in the present, especially if you are competing with others and you have to be totally alert, then you are connecting with that timelessness of the now, without having the ID, but then the attention, it's very limited, because the attention is totally absorbed in the object of the attention. But because of that, because the mind is not busy with other things, because we don't create tensions, should I do this, should I do that, do I want this, do I want that, then for some time that usual thing that goes on in the mind that prevent people from being naturally at ease and happy is stopping for some time, and then some of that joyousness of existence has the chance to come on the surface, and people feel excited and play. But actually the joyousness, the enjoyment doesn't come from the game. That joyousness comes out of ourselves. If you can learn to let go of our mental worries without being locked into such a thing, locked into a game, then you can more and more experience that which is attractive in a game, that which creates that sense of exciting fulfillment in a way. You can experience that more and more, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, by learning to simply be consciously conscious here, now, and relax in that. The more we relax in that, the more it's opening up that well of beauty and joyousness. And it comes up bubbling, bubbling, bubbling all the time if we don't prevent it. You don't need anything to be happy, to be joyous. Anyhow, you live your life the way you want to live your life.
Thank you. Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
Okay, there is. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to come in? Please come in. What I have now just said in the context with computer games. But the same mechanism is there with all the other things in life. People run and run and run, looking for fulfillment, looking for happiness, hoping to find happiness by fulfilling this desire, by fulfilling that desire, by doing this, by doing that. And momentarily, it seems to work. We fulfill a desire and we feel happy for a moment. Why? Not really because whatever we did, whatever we ate, whatever we bought, whatever we received brought really happiness, but because the desire is fulfilled for a moment, we rather relax. The mind rather stops, at least to some degree. And in that relaxation, that natural joyousness, which is always there, which is never absent, has a chance to come bloop, bloop, bloop to the surface. After that, in the mind we think, oh, I was so happy because of this, because I got this, because I bought that, because I ate this wonderful meal, because I did this, I did that. But that happiness didn't come from the surroundings, from the object, it came out of yourself. You are the source of your happiness. You are the source of your sense of fulfillment. It's just when we are fulfilling desires, for a moment we are not torturing our mind, torturing ourselves with our mind, thinking it should be different. It shouldn't be like this, it should be different, it should be different. Then for a moment we, after the fulfillment, with the fulfillment of a desire, we let go. And in that letting go, that sense of joyousness comes at least to some degree to the surface, and one feels happy. But after that we think, I was so happy because of this and because of that. And of course, things that are absorbing our attention can give that kick. When I was once in Switzerland, I was talking to a policeman, and he was also mountain climbing. And he was a bit curious about what I'm doing in India. I talked a bit about that, and then he said, actually, when I hear you talking, the only time when I get something what you describe as a meditative state is when I'm really hanging on a cliff in a real dangerous situation where I have to be totally here now, because any mistake could be fatal. Then he feels something like what I described about meditation. So people looking for these external situations that force the attention to withdraw from all the other things and bring it to the present, at least to the degree of being focused on the object of experience. That's why people go mountain climbing. That's why it's so attractive, because there is a kick there, because the mind has no time to mull over the problems, but is here now, and being here now, even to some degree, already brings a greater intensity and a greater intensity to life. And when that intensity is there, somehow one feels more fulfilled. When I was a boy, I used to go skiing in winter. But it's so fun to go up the mountain and then rush down again, and go up the mountain and rush down again, because it absorbs your attention. It gives a kick, because when you're with quite a good speed going down the mountain, you have to be totally careful. And it gives an intensity to the present moment. That's why people are attracted to computer games, especially computer games that where other play along, and it's competitive. So you have to be absorbed, like when you are skiing or when you are mountain climbing. And it gives a kick. But the kick doesn't come from the game. The kick doesn't come from the mountain, from the skis. The kick comes out of our own self. All we have to learn is to find a way that we can bring the attention in that intensive way to the present, and learn to relax in that, and then the intensity of existence is there whenever we want. Even if we are sitting all alone in our home without doing anything, when we go out, walk around in nature, we don't really need anything to feel fulfilled. That sense of fulfillment is there if we stop disturbing it. We don't need to struggle and struggle and struggle to make our life happy, because happiness is not dependent. It's our mind that creates the dependency, that says, this I like, when I do this I'm happy, this I don't like, when I do this, that I'm not happy at all. But if we learn, no matter what, to be consciously conscious, consciously in touch with life, here now, learn to relax in it, that well of joyousness is simply opening up and comes to the surface. It's always there. It's simply an aspect of existence. Joy, happiness is an aspect of existence. It need not be created. It need not be created by practice. It's there. Practice helps us to become more aware, and with that greater awareness, it becomes easier and easier to relax in that timelessness, in the now. And the more we are capable, not simply to connect with that timelessness of the present, but to really relax in that, to let go in that, the more that joyousness is simply bubbling up, and it's there, available anytime, anywhere, whatever we are doing. Then we are free, we are not dependent. Still, if somebody likes to play, can still play for some time. If somebody likes to climb mountains, still can climb mountains. If somebody likes to ski and has the opportunity, still can go skiing. But we don't make our well-being, our sense of fulfillment dependent on that. Then you are free. If anybody would like to come in, please come in. I just go on talking and talking again.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, hello, Nelly.
Hello, glad to see you.
Glad to see you. We all are always glad to see you.
I have a question, Werner. We talked about some computer abuse and so on. I see that I am very dependent of the nature, and when I look at your experience, that you spent so much time in the cave without nature, without sun, I wonder how could you do this?
Because
how
I did. Yeah.
Yes, I understand that happiness is inside. You tell us about it all the time, and I understand that we don't need any material things to be happy. But as to me, I see that I am dependent of the nature. It makes me happy and gives me much joy and so on. And it's difficult for me to to understand how to live willingly without it.
Yeah, yeah. Anyhow, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your love for nature. And there's absolutely nothing wrong that you spend, whenever you can, that you spend rather a lot of time in nature. It's a good way because in nature there is a certain harmony already there. And so it's easier to connect with your own inner harmony. It helps. If you are in a restless environment, you still can connect with your inner harmony, but the influence will try to pull your attention away from it much more than when you are in nature. So don't think that there is anything wrong with your love for nature. If because of the circumstances sometimes you can go less in nature, then don't you worry about that you can go less in nature. Now you ask, how could you stay there in that cave without nature, without anything? Because I didn't feel disconnected because of that. There were walls all around, physical walls, and yet I didn't feel that I'm confined to that little space. But that sense of being disconnected from the rest of the world had already disappeared when I entered the second time the cave, where I stayed for a long time without coming out. People thought it is terrible what you are doing to yourself, but I was very happy there because, right, first of all, I had already really understood, not simply believed it in my intellect, but understood from my experience that the happiness I'm looking for comes out of my own self. And apart from that, that sense of separation has disappeared. So when you don't feel separate, then you feel connected no matter what your immediate physical circumstances are. Then you can live in the midst of a city and still connect with nature, even if there are no trees nearby or few trees nearby. But then you don't have to force yourself to do so. As long as you can, stay in nature. It's a good place to be.
I see, Werner. It's very interesting what you say, that you didn't feel separation with nature when you was in cave. It's very interesting. So I only can guess that you could feel it inside you, all this sun and all these trees and everything. I I don't understand, but I can only guess that you could find everything in yourself.
Yeah, when you stop feeling separate, when you stop feeling disconnected, then it's the very expression in yourself or outside doesn't really make much sense anymore. Then it's all connected. And I did connect with the sun in spite of not having sunlight. I did the sun salutations. I connected consciously with the sun, that one being connecting with another being. It doesn't matter if there are walls in between, you still can connect. Even if I couldn't look into the sun, you still can connect with the sun. And I have an old story with the sun. So even in my cave, I connected with the sun without seeing really the sun.
I see. It's very interesting. It means that all the doctors say that you should be on the sun, or otherwise you don't get vitamin D and so on. And now
sometimes,
I see that.
Sometimes doctors who were coming and talking to me, they asked, how are you doing it? You need sunlight, how you are doing it? Being always out of the out of the sun. And I would jokingly tell to them, instead of letting the sun shine from outside in, I let the sun shine from inside out.
I see. Wonderful.
And I do believe, I mean, now that I'm out, I do actually also now connect every day for some time very strongly with the sun. And I feel the sun is supporting this body's health and doing a lot of good things in this body. But I do believe that you can also, if you are cut off like I was in the cave with concrete walls, that you still can connect and that you still can get the benefit like as if you were walking out in the free under the sun. And you can do the same thing with the earth and the food, because there is now people know more and more and more and more all the little minerals and all the trace elements and everything that we need in order to be healthy. And you can always be very worried about that and do health food and supplements and tons of supplements. Or you can also just, as I'm connecting with the sun, I'm also connecting with the earth every day consciously. And it helps that I can barefoot walk in my garden, but even in a cave where you are surrounded with concrete, you still can connect with the earth. But if you have the possibility, it helps if you can touch the earth with your feet and open up that the earth is providing what you need. And the earth is filling up whatever you need with, and keeps your body healthy, even if your food is supposedly not complete and not very healthy. And we don't really need to worry about those such things. We can connect with the sun and get what we need from the sun, and we can connect with the earth and get what we need from the earth, even if we don't follow up all what is now being proclaimed, what is necessary to keep your health.
Yes, I see. It's very interesting.
That doesn't mean you should not go into the sun and you should not go into the forest. By all means, keep going and do that. If it helps you to connect with yourself, then accept this help. But if then sometimes in your life a period comes where you are somewhere else and you cannot do it, then don't push your mind to think all the time, oh, I should be there, it's not good to be here, I should be out in nature, it's not good to be here. But then accept, okay, for the time being, I can physically not go so easily into nature. I'm living in a city now, and okay, but I still can connect. And then if you open your heart, then you won't feel that it's such a big difference, wherever you are, whether you are living surrounded by beautiful nature or not.
Yes, I see that we can be absolutely independent of anything. Maybe we can be independent of food at this way.
Maybe. I'm not aspiring to do that so far. I still keep on eating.
Yes, I see.
That's the human experience, and there are the people who claim they can exist without eating. I'm sure it's possible. It's not something that I feel now the majority of humanity should aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is enough food for everybody if we distribute it. But don't be obsessed with food, not even with health food. Feed the body something and don't make a big fuss about it.
Yes, I see. Yes, I see that in the situation, in the necessary situation, we can live without many things. At least we can, yes, I see. Maybe we can be independent of a lot of things.
Our reality is very much formed with our conditioning that we have in the mind. That everybody lives in a certain way, does certain things, and from early childhood, we are told this and this and this and this functions like this, it's necessary, and that this and this and this is like this, this is the reality, and we slip into that same stream, and everybody supports each other, the different minds support each other to keep a certain reality alive as it is. But actually, there is infinite possibility for consciousness. And if we stop forcing our mind to think and feel, to act and react always in the same ways, on the same level, then what is possible is just simply incredible. It's in principle infinite. But of course, once we have introduced all those, we have imbibed all that stuff, and we have that conditioning, it's not so easy to overcome it, because even if consciously we say, okay, I can do without this, I can do without that, subconsciously there is that silent voice that tells you, no, no, not possible, no, no, not possible. So if we want to overcome limitations that are there because of our conditioning, because we have learned to perceive reality, then it needs quite some work to undo them. And a lot of them, one can wonder whether it's worth the trouble, like why invest a lot of energy to learn maybe to exist without food? What's the point? You can also eat regularly, moderately, and then the whole subject is solved, and you don't have to spend your mind, your energy on that. But possibilities are, there's no limit to that. There is no limit.
I see. Thank you, Werner.
You are most welcome. Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Noor. How are you?
I'm here sitting in the sun in Goa and listening to you.
That's good. Haven't been here for a while, huh?
Yes, I'm in a complete forest area in North Goa. I moved here 6 weeks ago, and I'm here for the next 6 months.
Ah, that's nice.
So I'm really happy here. I've moved with my daughter, and I'm in the forest near the swimming pool, near the sea. So I'm spending a lot of time with myself.
Good.
And what is happening is this is the first time in my life that I'm spending time alone with myself, and that's where this monkey in the mind is having desires to go here, to go there, to do this, to do that, and all sorts of desires are coming up. But at the same time, this is the first time in my life that I'm alone without a partner, so I'm feeling a lot of loneliness and a lot of thoughts, what's wrong with me, why am I alone, maybe I should find somebody and this and that. So then I said, okay, no, let's spend some time alone without going and looking for somebody to be with. And I'm finding it very difficult to be alone with myself and love myself. It's easy for me to love others and do things for others. In my nature of where I grew up, in the Indian family that I grew up with. So when I look at my past, I was always a rescuer, I was a doer, and now I am trying to just be and not do anything, which is very difficult for me. So the questions I have is multiple questions, and then you can take up whichever one you want. Is number one is I do a lot of vipassana and meditation in the morning, which I have always done. So I clean my brain out with soap and water. But at the same time, I'm looking at nature, and the place where I am, there are peacocks that come here, birds. There is a big banyan tree in front of me, just 5 feet away, right here. I can show you.
Oh, yes. Very nice. Yes, you can say you live in a beautiful place, huh?
According to the Indian culture, has lots of snakes, and you can't touch them. So now I'm 15 feet away from snakes, so that's okay. Now let me tell you what my question is and where I need your help is I'm fighting my own self to get in touch and control my remote control, which controls me, my operating system, what I call,
Yeah.
my pattern, the way of my being. And 1 second, I see something. The person who stayed here was a Russian couple, and they had a lot of dogs, so there are a lot of dog ticks. So I just killed one, but that's okay. So now back to where we were. So one of the questions I have is, oh my God, I forgot. Okay, 1 second. Is I'm feeling a lot of loneliness.
Yes.
So like right now after 4:30, I'll go for a swim in the sea, and I should be happy. It's like 30 degrees, and I should be lucky that I'm blessed, that I'm not stuck in a city called Bombay.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed that my daughter moved me here, and we have this big, beautiful place. So I look at it and I'm wondering, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I feeling lonely and alone? And why am I afraid to look inside of me? So when I look inside of me, there are things that I feel like doing which are not as per the rules of society.
Yeah, right.
Because I was there yesterday swimming, and the bird was injured, and I just went and took that bird and I brought it home, and people think I'm crazy, because if I start doing what I feel deep inside, I'm not in touch with the so-called society or advanced civilization, or whatever word you want to use. So I just thought I'd share what I'm thinking. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, as long as you are not harming people or other things, then by all means live your own rules, not the rules of society. You are perfectly all right. Now, why do you feel lonely? Because the habit, your lifelong habit, that somehow that you are complete if you are with somebody. Even if you are accepting in your intellect, this is not truly the case, but I'm complete in myself, but your feeling is like this, the habit is like this, that somehow in order to feel complete, you have to be with somebody. So it's a very good exercise now, at least for some time, to be by yourself. But if it's getting too hard, then you go a bit to the, I mean, you are not far away from the places where many people are. You go and go into company and have some fun with the people. But then it's good that you spend a lot of time alone, because then you become much more aware how you are functioning. You were always a rescuer, but humans and animals, but actually you did it always for yourself, because you felt satisfied, you felt happiness doing so. And so it's, you asked, why am I not able to love myself when I'm alone? Because you somehow always had to project yourself in a situation where you could play a role of which you were proud of which you can be satisfied with yourself, and feel that after all I'm a good guy doing this. And you have to learn to love yourself, not playing a role, just loving yourself, being, not defining yourself. I'm the Noor that is now 75 years old and I have been brought up in Bombay and I have done this and this and I had this company and I had this success in my business life, but just you as a being. Learn to be with you, not defining you. It's not so easy, but then you don't have to overdo it. Spend now much more time than you usually did alone, because you are living alone. That's great, and you have a beautiful place that helps you, that supports you. There are animals, there are plants, there is the sea, there is the swimming pool. So there is a lot of external things that make it easier. So spend a lot of time with yourself, but in between, if you feel like now you need more company than just always only with the daughter, then go and be a bit with people in between. But become aware that how the pull is always preventing you from being actually at ease in the present. That ease being with yourself. But if it's getting too strong, then fulfill the desire, but then come back again and learn to observe how the old habit is always pulling, and actually preventing you from simply being at ease and relaxed without going for company and without being with a partner right now. That you just are by yourself, because you, in your real being, you don't need anybody. You don't need anything. You are complete. You are a divine being in yourself. You have always distracted you, even with the good things that you have been doing, even with all your rescues of people in difficulties, of animals in difficulties. You did it to have again an image of yourself, an image that you can be happy with, a good man. And so try now just not to create an image. Simply learn to bring the attention back to that sense of being conscious, that sense of being alive, here now, and learn to relax in it. And the more you are capable of doing that, the more you become aware, actually, you don't need all this. Still, you have a certain character play a certain role. You can very well continue playing your roles and then go back to people and have fun with them. And when you see somebody who needs help and you feel like giving that help, give that help. If you feel like rescuing birds, then rescue the birds. But don't be dependent on doing those things in order to feel complete. Because it's still, even doing good things, then it's still hanging on to an image that you have created of yourself that is pleasant, that is pleasing for the mind. A nice man doing good things to help people.
What I understand is that doing and rescuing and all is an escape. It's like somebody was asking about playing video games. So right. This is my video game.
If it's a compulsion, then it's an escape. If you spontaneously just do it, but then observe yourself, that you don't start to indulge in building up good ideas about yourself because you are doing it, but you simply do it because you feel that's what has to be done right now.
At that moment when I was swimming and the sun was going down and the bird needed help, I didn't think, I just did it spontaneously.
Right. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to stop that.
Now that example is okay, but then if I'm planning to rescue blah, 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 and I'm thinking and I want to be a hero and I want to feel good, then that's the other part.
That's the other part, right.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Why am I feeling not able to love myself? Why the hell can't I love myself? I mean, what is preventing me?
because you want to love yourself as the person you know yourself. And at least you don't have to develop a great love for that person. Simply say, okay, this is a role that I'm playing. You need not have aversion to that role. That's enough. But loving yourself means not more to stick to the person, not more to stick to any image that you are creating about yourself. But when you do your vipassana, you said you're doing your washing of the brain, you soap your brain out with your vipassana, with your meditation, that's great. But it's not that you have to, through your practice, improve as Nur. It's not that you as Nur have to become more and more holy, and holier and holier and holier, and getting better and better. You somehow have to become aware, Nur is just a role that I'm playing. I'm not really this person. And the more you become aware of that, the more you'll become aware, actually, you do naturally love that with all your heart. Everybody does. Simply, we are preventing ourselves from being aware of that.
Just be aware of it is what you're saying. Okay. My concern is, fear is that I have lots of friends who are like living alone for like 5 years, 10 years, and they have become a hermit frog. They just don't socialize at all. So my concern is, I don't want to become like a hermit frog.
Don't you worry about that. You'll never be a hermit. I think it's very good that for some time you live a little bit like a hermit, but you don't you worry of somehow creating a new conditioning that becomes a burden.
So that's the concern. That is not like I'm just thinking stupidly that the crocodile in the sea is going to come out and bite me. You know, I'm making up stories.
Right. So,
okay,
no need of making up stories.
Yeah. So the mind always is playing monkey, because what I feel is I'm taking over control of my remote control, and the remote control is fighting with me.
Yeah.
Not to give up control.
Yeah. Right.
And then the remote control tells me, hey, you stupid fool, I'm the one who looked after you, and you survived all these years because you listened to me, and now you want to take away the control. So that's where the conflict is coming inside of me.
Yeah, and that's why you feel you cannot love yourself, because you feel that inner tension, that inner conflict, and you have to find a way to relax. You try too much to find the solution to everything, and it's more that
then I have to drink some wine or smoke some marijuana, and then I am relaxed. I mean, you know.
No, because then you simply numb yourself.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, you're escaping. Yeah,
you're escaping. But you bring the attention to the present and don't try to find so much a solution. How can I find the solution to end that fight that is going on in myself? And there you are again in the mind and trying to figure out strategies and doing this and doing that. Just find a very easy way of bringing the attention to the present and learn to relax without trying to find a solution. Learn to relax. Breathe and relax. Instead of thinking. Thinking, why am I not loving myself? What am I doing wrong? My old control is not wanting to give up. I want to control. And you are in, just bring the attention. Watch the trees outside. Listen to the wind that is rustling the leaves. Breathe and relax and be here and be now.
Let me try that. Thank you.
I wish you well. Anyhow, we'll keep contact.
Yeah, I'll come to Thiru. It's not so far from Goa.
Yeah. Okay. Hari Om. Wish you well.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Please come in. How many people are here? 38 people. So somebody will have something to say.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, I hear a voice.
Hello.
I don't
It's
see.
Lorna.
Oh,
You don't
hello,
see
Lorna.
me?
I can. Oh, now,
Yeah.
now I see you. There you are.
Yes.
Hello, Lorna.
Hello, Werner. Hello. Werner, I'd like to ask you to speak about resistance, please.
Yes.
Because I see there's something in me that feels that I need to hold on to resistance, or resistance needs to hold on to resistance, that it's a kind of protection.
Right.
And,
in order to be safe.
Yes, and I'm afraid if I let go of the resistance, then the thing that I don't want to happen is going to happen. It's as though I can't say no, just no. I need to resist at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, yes. Actually, you're perfectly all right. That's what we somehow have learned to believe, that we keep our integrity by resisting against everything that we think should not happen, everything that we don't like, and open up only to the things that we think it should happen and that we like. And then if the things happen that we don't want, then we totally resist against the fact that they happen in spite of that. Actually, all this resistance is not making us safe, it's making us vulnerable. Vulnerable to suffering. We have our agenda. I like this, I like that, I like so many things. I want them to come in my life. I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't want to come that in my life. And if the things that I like, they don't come in my life, I resist against the fact that it's not happening. I resist and think it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this, it should be like that. And actually it's that resistance that prevents us from simply being at ease, at peace. Here now, we think that keeps our integrity. Then if I'm not having that agenda and direct my life according to that agenda, then everything falls to pieces. Then nothing will happen again anymore. But life will still continue if we don't do that. And life will be like before, a succession of pleasant events and unpleasant events, unpleasant events and unpleasant events. We can resist as much as we want, and still we have all that agenda of the things that should not happen, and these damn things happen in spite of that. And of course, then when they come, then we resist against totally, no, 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 why? Why again? Why me again? Always me. And with that resistance, we preventing ourselves from simply, naturally being at ease, at peace. But the mind thinks, if I'm not doing that, it's dangerous. If I'm not doing that, then somehow I'm not having my usual harness, armor around myself to protect me from the dangerous things of life. But it's absolutely an illusion that we have created. But out of habit, it's not easy to let go. As soon as we start to push a bit our limits, something wants to let go. Deep down, that longing is there to be naturally complete, to be naturally happy. It's there in everybody. It's simply a birthright, because our natural way of existing is to be fully happy. So that yearning is there in everybody, that we are in that natural way of existing. And then we try to find happiness in so many ways, and then we create strategies how to find it a little more and how to avoid unhappiness. And then somehow that fear is there. If I let my strategies go, if I let my certain resistance go to certain things, then they will come and swallow me. But the fact is actually, if I have things in my mind and I resist, I hope they don't come, and actually I keep it in mind. It's more an invitation that they come. If we don't keep that in mind, it's much less likely that the same things are coming. But the fear will come. Sometimes that longing for freedom is there, but when we push a bit the limits, then immediately the mind comes and, wait a minute, I didn't mean it exactly like this. And then if that resistance comes and you are aware of it, then don't start a lecture with yourself. Don't even try to persuade yourself. Simply see what is happening, but shift the attention from the mental level to your experience right now. See what it is doing to you physically. See what it is doing to you energetically. And let there the relaxation come. Relax. Relax physically, relax energetically, and then those emotions that create the tension, those resistances, then gradually they fade away. We are feeding them by being interested in them and think they are perfectly right, and we are also feeding them by fighting them. If I see the resistance and I start to fight, no, I don't want to be hold on to that resistance, then still I'm feeding energy in that. But if you shift the attention and observe what are they doing to you right now, and learn to relax physically, energetically, then the mental also gradually will follow, because we are not more giving food to that old thing. Whenever you become aware, oh, there is a resistance, don't get into that whole conversation with yourself. Is it right to keep it up? It is not right to keep it up. What is going to happen if I let it go? Just watch it, see it, and relax. And the more you let go of your resistances, the more you become aware it's everything else but dangerous. Actually, you're getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and your life becomes more and more a playful, joyous journey. If we don't have always that whole agenda there, what should and should not happen, that doesn't mean we cannot have our preferences and can direct our life if it's possible. But don't make your well-being dependent on it. If it works out the way you like, fine. If it doesn't work out, it's also fine, because your happiness is not coming from outside. That resistance is there, that we are having or afraid that whatever happiness we are having in our life, we are losing that if we are not holding on to our ideas, what is needed to be happy and what is needed to avoid to be happy.
I think, Werner, it's something as well about allowing myself to have preferences.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I hear you. I just had to put the current on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Because in thinking I should let go, then I'm also thinking I should disregard my preferences at the same time.
No, you can have your preferences. As long as you are appearing in a human form, there are those preferences, and they are not in themselves a problem. There are certain foods that you like more than other foods. There are certain music that you like more than other music. There are certain company that you like more than other company. There is absolutely not a problem about it. And if you can, then you arrange your life according to your preferences. And if it's not possible, then you don't make it into a problem. It's only when we are totally attached to our preferences and think my well-being is totally dependent, that things are turning out the way I like them, then it becomes a problem. Then we make ourselves suffer. But you can have your preferences, and if you can arrange your life accordingly, fine. Always with that broad-heartedness that many times it just doesn't work out the way I like it. So what? If that broad-heartedness is there, then the preferences are not the problem. The attachment to the preferences is a problem. That idea that we build up, and if we never question, if we never look at it, in most of the people, it's so totally ingrained, so firmly rooted there, that idea, my happiness is totally dependent that I can fulfill my preferences in my life. And if that is there, then we are asking for trouble, because half of the time it works and half of the time it doesn't work. And if you can accept that, then you still can have your preferences. And at a certain situation, you accept, okay, it's not exactly what I would choose, but accept the situation is as it is, and you still can make the best out of it.
I can see, Werner, it's, for my mind, it's a few things to do to allow myself to have preferences, not to become attached, not to worry about resisting or not resisting. But in fact, if I stay present, it takes care of all of that, doesn't it? It naturally takes care of that. It's just like keeping clear, and
Exactly.
present takes care of all of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick moment. Oops. Oh, I see. The current is off and my battery is slowly diminishing. I hope you can see.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Werner.
No,
yes.
I hope that it's not immediately ending. I just have to look quick at what I can do. My battery is on 10%, and I'm afraid that we are out of current. I have to quickly go and look whether there is current, because I'm not getting a current here, and if there is not, I have to go in the house and connect it with the battery. Otherwise, within a short moment, my computer will shut down. Just a minute, I'll come back. You are welcome to converse amongst yourself for a minute. Oh, it's come back. It's come back. Hello, I'm back. It went quicker than I thought. It was just two cables on the way were not connecting properly. So I just finish with that subject for Lorna. Yes, you are perfectly all right what you said in the end. If you really bring your attention to the present, then it solves all those problems. Unfortunately, our habit will pull our attention always away, our habitual way of acting and reacting, and so the concerns come back. But you're right that it's not so much on the level of the problem that we have to find the solution, but rather by simply redirect the attention to that living existence in that timelessness of the present, in that split moment of existence, the touching that, and then observing whatever has seemed to be a problem from that perspective, and it's much easier to deal with. Okay, if there is somebody, we have a little more time. If there is somebody who would like to come in with a question, you are welcome.
Hi, hi Werner.
Ah, hello, Rolly.
Hello. I have a question about physics. I wrote you a little bit about in before, and it's about scientists discovered that when, for example, in the double slit experiment, that when they observe particles, that their behavior changes.
Right.
So that means a little bit like when we observe something, that we can change the behavior of manifestation. What can you say about that, and how far can that go? Because when I think I can change through observing manifestation, how far can I be able to change particles, atoms,
change the whole world, huh?
And change things in real in the material or the matters.
Right, right. Theoretically, there is no limit what you can do. Simply, we have learned to exist in a certain way. We have a certain amount of energy to our disposal. So there seem to be some limitations, but we can learn to stretch those limitations further and further out. The fact is, it's amazing. He sent me some links to watch about experiments that scientists made, and I'm sure all those who have an idea of science, they know those, but for me it was new that experiments that you shoot electrons through one slit, and then you have a very predictable result, and then you shoot it through two slits and you would expect a certain result, and there is another result that comes out, that suddenly the particles, they behave like waves instead of particles. And then they installed something to observe exactly when and how and this electron goes through that slit, and then it starts to behave differently, simply by the fact of being observed, and not simply because the scientist was observing, but they installed observing mechanisms, and that very observing mechanism had already the effect that the electrons started to behave differently. So it's not simply the scientist who put the mind into it, but somehow the electron observed behaved differently than the electron not observed. That's amazing. I think this is totally amazing.
I think so too. Thanks to describe the experiment in English words. It helps. I quoted in English.
Right. I'm not a scientist, so I have no scientific explanations, but actually the quantum physics, they get with what they are talking about, they're getting closer and closer to what yogis used to tell since time immemorial, how much we can influence our body, our mind, our life, our experience, and by doing so, radiate it around, and it's influencing the world around you. The stronger you are, the more influence it has, what you are radiating. But the crucial factor is exactly what the scientists are doing. By observing, you already start to change. By observing ourselves, our mind, how we are functioning, because most of the people, they don't have a clue how they are functioning. They just function always out of old habit, repeating the same patterns, repeating the same ways how they are functioning, without being aware how they are being pushed and driven just by old habits they have slowly built up. And so by observing ourselves, our mental patterns, our mental reactions, the very fact of observing it will already start to change it automatically. And then, of course, on top of that, we can also put an intent into it. Because that is another level of it, that the observing already changes. But then there is also that creativity in everybody. And out of that well of creativity, we can all right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Now you are there again fully. So because like this, I have you also, it goes up and down. I have been kicked out of the meeting totally because the internet connection was not good enough. And then I shifted on my phone. I'm connected with my phone and I have two different companies. So I shifted to the other company and there we are. Okay. We have already that fact, simply observing and seeing things on the mental level, on the energetic level, on the physical level, starts to change the situation. That even the scientists have established that, that the observation already changes things. Now, on top of that, we have that connection with that well of creativity. Everybody is connected with that divinity, and we can also bring that creativity into this manifestation. So we can put an intent into a certain situation which has a certain force and is capable of bringing a new aspect into it. Simply, that doesn't mean we are always capable with our intent to change whatever situation is there, because the present situation that is manifesting the way as it is manifesting, because there are influences from all sides coming together in a nucleus here, bloop, manifesting as this situation. And our intent is one aspect of different aspects. So our intent can maybe just tip the scale, that the situation changes totally. But maybe the other influences are so strong that even if we intend, it just makes a ripple, but it doesn't manifest immediately. So how much can we change things? I mean, there is basically no limit to that. But our energy has a certain limit that is to our disposal, and by becoming more and more self-aware, that energetic potential may grow and grow and grow. And if your energy grows, then your capacity of influencing things will also grow. But there is a fail-safe in it. Not that people grow and grow and grow their energy and then create more chaos in the world by fulfilling their selfish desires, that our energy has the tendency to get more limited the more we think from a selfish standpoint. The more we are focusing on that me, I, me, mine, separate from everything, and I want something that against everybody else, the more is our consciousness, our energy potential rather having the tendency to reduce. And the more that capacity is there to feel connected and to think and feel more for the common good, the more energy will be at your disposal. And so it's not that you can build up more energy and after that overthrow the whole order of the world, because the more you feel connected to everything, the less you feel the need to create any disharmony there, but rather to work for the greater harmony. The more you open your heart like this, the more your influence will be there. And so in your own personal life, if you observe and become aware what is creating pain, what is creating tensions, the very observation already starts to change it. But then on top of it, you can also put that intent there, that certain things you want them to change. And there comes one aspect more than simply observing. Then you're helping to bring about the change. And the more you change in the sense that you'll remove sources of suffering, that remove sources of tension, the more you change that, the more something very beautiful starts to radiate through you, that automatically starts also to change the minds of the people you come in contact with, starts to change your surrounding. It has a beneficial effect on the surroundings. And so actually we can just hope that, especially in this time now, that many people are stranded, have so much time, have to stay home, that they learn to be more self-aware, and through that increased self-awareness, learn to radiate or start to radiate something beautiful that inspire other people to do the same thing. Then that actually the present situation could really change the way how the world is functioning if enough people join into that. Because more minds joining into that, the greater the power is there. But each one is a creator. Each one is creating their own life. And then, of course, there are the other influences, but how we deal with those other influences, as long as we are not aware, we are just reacting and reacting and reacting and reacting. And the very fact of becoming aware, of observing, already starts to change that. Like the observation of the particles starts to change how it's functioning. We also are particles like that start to function differently if we start to observe sincerely, have a good, honest look at ourselves. And then on top of that, we can intend that certain things change. And gradually, if we renew that intent and keep on observing, that potential of influencing things to the better is increasing and increasing. And the fail-safe is that if we want to influence things for the worse and create troubles, then it's like a cosmic law generally our energy, our potential is reducing. Still, there are people given power in the power structure of society. They can create a lot of troubles. But then somehow in the cosmic harmony, it's also woven again in a tapestry that in the end turns out okay. But if more people come to their senses, more people bring their attention to the present, more people start to observe themselves, how they are functioning, and see how contradictory so much stuff is functioning, and learn to get rid of that, then more people start to radiate a very beneficial energy into this world, and this will change more and more. The surroundings, the climate, the mental climate of the earth, and even the physical climate can be influenced to harmonize again more.
Okay, thank you very much, Werner. So let's keep on observing.
Let's keep on observing. That's the basic clue. People can do spiritual practice, and try to develop some power, collect some energy. But if that introspection is not happening, then we can practice and practice and practice, and it doesn't bring you very far. We have, along with the practice, also remind ourselves, have a good, honest look at ourselves and see what's going on. And then the very observation gives us already so much insight that many things we feel like, oh no, oh. Let that stuff go out of our mind. So let's continue to observe.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You are most welcome. I think we are stopping for today, the satsang.
Thank you.
The time is over, and I'm stopping now, going to stop the recording.